Good Wednesday morning, Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Looking at the broad picture right now across the North American continent and mostly centered on the United States of America, of course. What we're seeing is this big ridge of higher pressure that's to our west, and of course a trough of lower pressure that's exiting our region gradually. This has brought some colder air into the country. You can see the temperatures this morning. And of course that colder air has been in our vicinity, and it looks like we have another shot of it with overnight lows that could even probably reach freezing and a little bit below that. So a little frost as we begin to clear on out, but this ridge of higher pressure will be in control. Eventually the surface ridge of higher pressure will work into the region, and we're looking at the colder weather starting to turn a corner, and we'll take a look at that right now with some of the anomalous temperatures as forecasted or projected by the European computer model. Yep, it did snow last night. This is snow up in Mad River Glen with the live version right now. And what you can see, it looks like probably somewhere around a couple of inches, perhaps even a little bit more than that, depending on elevation. Of course, a lot of the places in Vermont below base lodge level saw no snow. And it continues to see a cold rain. And this is some pretty chilly temperatures with basically daytime highs yesterday only in the low 40s. So a little snow in the hilly terrain in the upper elevations, roughly about base lodge and higher. And it does look like we're going to see a warm-up here. Trough of lower pressure exiting out of the region, higher pressure building. Quick look at the analysis conditions with that trough of lower pressure. This is 300 millibar upper air. And so we go to 500, we see that slice downward, about 18,000 feet elevation. You can see that strong trough of lower pressure, cold air advection coming in on the backside. Using the next frame, this will show 700 millibar humidity, hectopascal, whatever your choice. And we see the denser cloud cover at 10,000 feet, approximate elevation altitude, exiting the region with drier air upstream. Looking at the next cut below, this is 850 hectopascal or millibars. And about the top of Mount Mansfield, we can see lifting mechanisms in the area, also up to the north and west of our region. Let's take another look without that. You see the big building ridge of higher pressure, trough of lower pressure, and the lower levels now of the atmosphere are beginning to exit out of the region. The next cut is down to 925 millibars, roughly about base lodge level. You can see the 0 degree centigrade, the freezing level, if you will. Not universal in Vermont, but mainly in northern areas. And then last but not least, we'll use our temperature, current temperatures that are below freezing at surface. You can see up to the north of us, but not in New England, and that includes Maine and so on. This is a higher dew point temperatures where you can see that slightly elevated dew point here. And of course, this big dry fall air mass that's going to be working on and built around the thicknesses of the area of higher pressure with sinking motions, lots of subsidence. Okay, on the left-hand side, we have the European Ensemble. This is valid about 2 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. This is the European AI, so it's in the longer range, it's actually more accurate, and I'm very, very happy indeed how the AI is coming along in some of our computer modeling world, used for, of course, good reasons. You can see that there's a ridge of higher pressure that'll build in basically later in this week, and this is valid 8 o'clock Friday evening. You can see that any storms are exiting out of the region. That trough is lifted up. So consequently, we have a different look at the jet stream and at surface with that ridge building in. This is much more of a positive NAO or positive AO kind of look now, which is an increasing and strengthening polar vortex. It's kind of early for that, but this is definitely a plus AO, and meaning that the colder air is going to be hugging the areas around the pole, less so down in the lower latitudes. So this little cold bout will be working on out of the region. But just looking at the AI version and the longer range here, you can see that a little bit of a trough that will kind of roll on through, but mainly the jet stream is holding north into Canada, quite a ways to our north. And then we have another shot here, maybe a little bit of a dip with an area of low pressure near Hudson Bay. All of that working through probably a cold front that's going to be coming on through with another reinforcing shot of cooler air. That'll be followed by a ridge of higher pressure with that cooler air. But you're seeing conditions not as cold as what we're seeing currently here this week anyway, with a little bit of snow in the higher terrain. And I don't see things as volatile as we go in longer range. We're talking now valid the end of the month, about the 30th of October. Another area of higher pressure builds in, and it's kind of rinse and repeat. Okay, once again, this is precipitation type and the amounts. We have the European Ensemble on the left, the European AI version on the right. So in the early stages, you can use either one. This is a little bit better resolution, a little bit less resolution, but more accurate in the longer range. So taking a look at that, we see a system moving off the coast, area of higher pressure with delightful weather. This is valid into Saturday afternoon. We see this sinking area of higher pressure with a little bit more stronger jet stream up to the north of us. But the colder air, as I was just talking about, is holding further to the north. You can see that. Looking at the AI version from here on out, what you can see, once weather system pushes in and largely goes through the Great Lakes, but stays to the north of Vermont for the most part. And we're looking at a relatively dry pattern up until this cold front works on through. Another bout of colder air, but not as intense, will be working through roughly the middle part of next week. And then once that colder air gets pushed on out, which is the setup here, another area of higher pressure. We have a return flow, warming conditions on the backside. This is valid about the 26th of October on Saturday. So the following weekend, and then another frontal boundary that's going to work on end. Notice the European Ensemble can't handle it, but the AI version can. And so it's just what is projected. Take it with a grain of salt, but looks like a little bit of a ridge. And then, of course, a northwesterly flow bringing in another reinforcing shot of colder air aloft and at the surface, but that'll take place during drier conditions. So not anticipating any snow during the last half of the month of October, except on a few dusting spots in the mountains. That's going to be about it. And you're looking at Montpelier's temperatures predicted high today, 45, but it's an upward tick. Eventually, by Tuesday the 22nd, we get into warmer than normal temperatures. Certainly anything above about 60 right now is warmer than normal. So you're looking at 70s potentially anyway for the 22nd, 23rd of October. And then after that, another dip. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.